So this excerpt from Shostakovich's Fifth Symphony, the first movement, is yet again another essential excerpt that is so often asked. We most recently asked for it in our first violin audition for the Philadelphia Orchestra. So I thought this would be a great sort of opportunity for me to show you what we're looking for, sort of some behind the scenes, and what I heard things that people could have done better. All right, so I'm going to go through this, like I said, one note at a time, kind of give you my fingerings, my opinions about how to kind of tackle this and kind of approach it when you're practicing. So at rehearsal number 32, this is where we're going to start. There's a double stop here. Now, a lot of people I heard play it up higher on the G string. I don't think that's a great idea. Of course, you can do it for safety reasons, but again, if you're conveying to the committee that it's safety first, I don't particularly care for that. I like to hear someone that goes for it. So I really encourage people to start in first position and play this very boldly, this double stop, okay? And make a nice big sound, okay? Then, of course, you can go up and shift up to the higher position, B flat and G flat. I prefer you just stay on the E string and think of this enharmonically as A sharp and F sharp, okay? Even though it's G flat and B flat, G flat. I prefer really thinking A sharp, F sharp. I really feel like I know that, and knowing where third position is, essentially it's sort of a hybrid between third and fourth, but I know where that is. I don't think that's a struggle to find that A sharp. Then it's just a simple extension, okay? And again, when I was learning this excerpt, I went through this painstakingly, very, very sort of, in a very thoughtful way to sort of know exactly where my hand's going. And that's how I approach this. And that's kind of what I'm going to describe to you, my sort of process of the fingerings. Because I really do think if you have a plan and you know exactly where these fingers need to go, you're really going to be that much more prepared, and it's going to sound that much more consistent. So again, here, first position, 1-4. Then basically, I kind of pivot my hand up to this next position and just play sort of a contracted F natural, double stop to A natural. Okay? So, and then pivot up and have this ready. Okay? And I might just do that a few times just to get comfortable, really feeling from here, prepared. So let's do it again. Prepare. Prepare. One more time. And you can see I'm really very, very sort of systematic in getting from here to here to here. Okay? And of course I'm talking so it wasn't perfectly in tune, but you get the idea. Okay? It's getting better. Then, same idea. I shift back a half step, pivot with my second, and play this double stop. A flat, second finger to E flat. You can also practice this in double stops to kind of get your hand and left hand and fingers correctly in place. This one is obviously not a double stop, but then this end, just to get really comfortable knowing where those notes are and getting the hand set there. And then going on, playing this double stop, D natural, B natural, okay? So, D, and then the same idea here. We shift up a half step to this double stop, okay? It's very tricky to kind of get these hands really properly in place, but if you do this systematically, like I said, and have a good amount of hand readiness before you play each figure, this 16th and then the following quarter note, I really think you'll have a much better success of having it ready just consistently. So from here, from the beginning, ready, ready, ready. Now, C to E flat. I then just kind of do the simple double stop and get myself the same minor 6. Okay? It's not too hard. If you do it enough times, you'll get it in your head. From here, then, I do a simple extension to D natural, okay? And again, for the most part, I'm creeping around all the time with this excerpt with my left hand. Very few massive shifts. It's more sort of having the next one sort of known as to where I'm going, okay? So from here, so it's simple, okay? D natural, B natural. And then, same thing here, just going up the fingerboard in half step. Here now, I already knew that that first finger was in place. because I come sort of in position. And then I just sort of extend the fourth finger up to the D nut. Okay, it feels pretty reliable as far as I'm concerned from here. So you might want to just do it without doing the rhythms, but just doing double stops and then just single notes. Okay, I feel that's really sort of confident in my hand. I feel very confident in my hand with this, okay? Then going backwards, again, I think of this as F sharp, D sharp, okay? I feel like I know exactly where that is, as opposed to G flat, E flat. I don't know why, but my mind sort of thinks in sharps, and I remember being taught this when I was a teenager by my teacher Norman Carroll about finding these enharmonic notes that are the same note. Somewhat easier to think in terms of sharp notes, at least it is for me. So from there, then again, a contracted hand position. Okay? Then G natural, and now I just play a simple major third back to C natural. So, okay, contracted, but then now fifth position, and then a simple perfect fifth. Okay? Again, play one note at a time, kind of finding your way. Okay? Because you only have that one double stop here. But then going forward, I essentially just transfer this perfect fifth up a minor third. Okay? Not necessarily everybody's first choice. I just like it because I feel like I know the structure of this hand here. And just do a simple pivot shift. Okay? Then I'm already set up for this sort of triad, this arpeggiated E flat. And then just reach back for first finger, D natural. Keeping the fourth finger sort of in the same position for that E flat, B flat that is. And then I'm sort of already set up for this next E flat and G natural. Okay? So let me just do this slowly. Going from here, the F sharp, or excuse me, the G flat, E flat. Okay? Again, I really feel confident and I kind of know exactly where this is just because I've done it so many times over and over again. And then going on, like I said, just reach back with that for the D natural. And now I'm kind of set up for this next position, which is just essentially fifth position. Okay? Very simple. Just shift up a half step and stay in position here for the octave. And you're just going up the fingerboard with, again, octaves. Simple. And then, again, minor six, just, again, up the half step. Pretty simple, okay? And now, I stay in this position, okay, on the E string, and I just kind of have a sort of this arpeggiated backwards, F minor. And then I'm back into the fifth position. And then up the half step, again, one at a time. And then 2, 4. And then again, I'm really ready for this first finger C natural. And then again, up a half step. Except that I kind of just move the first finger back to C natural. And then here, again, I think of this D flat as C sharp because we have the C sharp upcoming, okay? And then open string to E, and then C sharp is ready. And then an extension to A natural. And again, I feel very confident that I know this again, this arpeggiated F minor. Okay, it's really sort of solid in my hand. And then same idea. And then here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3. And then here, I like to just play this 2, 3. And not do a big leap into another position and just reach for the fourth finger. It doesn't feel like a strain. And then you keep playing these A naturals all over and over and over again. Again, I came up with these fingerings very precisely with a very calculated idea of where I was going. So important. One other thing, let's just talk about the stroke. and the sort of the rhythm. So often, so many times I heard people playing this in a way that was exact, like playing it with triplets. This really needs to be performed with good rhythm. You know, this dotted, you have basically the quarter note and then tied to a dotted eighth and then a 16th. Not sounding like a triplet. That was the most common error I heard. Lots of times it sounded ba-bam, ba-ba. There's a lot of sluggishness and sounds sort of like you don't know it when you play it with that incorrect rhythm. So make sure, ba-bam. If anything, you almost feel like you're doing it double dotted, ba-bam, ba-bam, but very rhythmic. This is a military sort of moment, and it's such a climax of this first movement that you do not want to make it sound in any way sort of sluggish or sort of logy, okay? Ba-bam, ba-bam, ba-bam. So even as I say that, you might want to release, release. Okay, when you're practicing this. You might even want to do it again, just one sort of duplet at a time, and then wait, get ready, get ready, get ready. Just getting really good at practicing it, these two notes at a time, and release. Ba-bam, wait, ba-bam, okay? Let's do that. Wait, and get ready, having the fingers ready. Okay, that's how I would practice it. The other thing is just make sure staying in the string with good sort of heavy sort of martelé strokes. And release. When I say release, I don't want you to release too much weight of the bow. I just want the note to kind of release so that you can get ready for the next 16th note. Release, release, and I get ready. Okay? I've played this so many times with the orchestra that I kind of know it, again, from memory, and these fingerings have been sort of trained into my hands, okay, that I know it, I think, for the rest of my life as long as I play it. Really go through this systematically, like I said. You can also do double stops where you have, okay? It's a little sloppy, but you understand what I mean. This really just needs to be in your hands, unconscious, so that it just happens when it comes time to the audition. All right, really make sure that this has the right excitement, the right sort of character, and again, it will really be that much better when you're playing it in your next audition.